MP
Hey
Arlington,
Chris, Gabby, Orlando, Florida.
Good morning, Gabby. Welcome. Good
MP
morning, Barbie
Arlington,
from
Texas.
Arizona.
MP Arlington, Texas.
Welcome from Arlington, Texas.
Hey, Chris, Rod OB in the DMV.
Good morning, Rod, and welcome.
Hello.
As you join, announce yourself. Tell us where you're calling in from.
Jessica on Force County office.
Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, Chris.
And remember, if you're in a place where you can turn on your cameras, let's get in a method of turning your cameras on. If you can't, we understand if it's a work thing, if it's your driving, if you got your kids running around in the background, we understand. But if you can, it's nice to see people's smiles and reactions to live calls.
Idris Salaka, Brooklyn, New York.
Welcome, Mr. Alaka.
Jabari Sadler, Atlanta, Georgia.
Welcome, Jabari. George is in the building.
Yes, sir.
As you join, announce where you're calling in from. Turn your cameras on.
Shane Dean from
Friday.
Idaho.
Welcome from Idaho. It's Thursday, almost Friday, and then the weekend starts, and some deals should start popping in.
Jerry in Atlanta.
Welcome, Jerry.
Erica Neal, Puerto Rico.
Welcome, Erica. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be in for a treat today, resuming our Thursday team building training. If you're a leader on your team, this will show you what you can do to continue to grow your team and expand it. And if you want to start building a team, this will also give you the information to do that. Welcome, everyone. As you join the call, announce yourself, tell us where you're calling in from.
Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Olivia and I'm from San Diego.
Olivia, welcome. New
Thank you.
face.
Yes.
Kathy Austin, calling in from the great state of Georgia.
Welcome, Kathy.
Amelia from Downey, California.
Welcome, Amelia.
Mark Stewart from Los Angeles.
Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Chris, Long
Morning,
Beach,
Veronica
California.
from Rancho Cucamonga.
Welcome from Rancho. I think that was Vero. Was that Vero?
Yes, it's me.
Welcome.
Angel Trent, Houston, Texas.
Welcome, Angel. There is still time to get your team members on this call. If you have a team of leaders that want to grow their team, they should be on here. If you are a leader wanting to grow your team, you should be on here. Soak up knowledge, soak it up like a sponge.
All right. Mr. McHenry, what's going on? Tim Neal, Puerto Rico here, sir.
Welcome, Tim.
How's it going?
I'm doing fabulous. Building.
All right.
Mike Sullivan, Boston.
Mike, welcome.
Matthew Acosta from Montebello, California.
Welcome, Matthew.
Raj.
Welcome, Raj.
Hello. Hi, Chris.
Shalinda from the Virgin Islands.
Welcome from the Virgin Islands. All right, we are 5 after the hour. Let's do a mic check. Mr. Rangel, are you on?
I am on, Chris. I'm on from my computer. I'm logging on from I'm on from my cell phone. Let me log on from my computer. 1 second. How are you, Chris?
I'm building.
That's right. That's the correct answer too. I am building is a correct answer. So that was a test, Chris. But I need you to pass that test.
I've been studying this week.
That's right. That's right. Okay, let me log on here.
All right, ladies and gents, we're about to get started. Let me set the floor for our presenter. So Mr. Rangel has been building teams left and right for the last 20 years. Built teams that have thousands, produced millions of revenue, made millions of dollars early on in his career, dropped to the bottom, and then had to build a team back up to start again. So one of the things I learned actually last night, I went to I thought it was a networking mixer, but it was kind of more of a setting where you talk about what you define success as and how mental and health plays into success. One of the things that I think we also tend to do is measure our success by the money in our bank account and the flashy cars we have. But really, success is measured by how you take failure, turn it into a lesson, and then continue to do that again and again. Small wins. So what I want to set up the stage for Mr. Rangel is because he was dropped to millions and then went back to the bottom, went back up and then went back to the bottom. So that is a measurement of success, being able to get humbled by a higher power and then do it again and say, at least I'm still living, at least I'm still breathing. I can do this again. I still have lungs. I still have legs. I still have eyes. I still have my voice. Those are success. So I want to put upon everybody before Mr. Rangel's take over the call is thank yourself and thank everyone for the small wins. We get caught up on the large wins of, do I have this many sales? Do I have this in my bank account? Am I driving this flashy car? Thank yourself for the small wins, because those small things are success. And that keeps you in the right mindset and keeps you also healthy. Mindset starts with everything. Your health starts with everything. Then the success will follow. And I didn't have mentors in the past, but at this company, I do have mentors like Mr. Rangel, Mr. Navarro, Mr. Bean. And I can see them doing things in small increments and building, and I mimic that. So I'm glad that we have these trainings on Monday and on Tuesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday throughout the week, because it allows us to see what success looks like in other fashions. So without any further ado, bring Mr. Rangel to the stage, and everyone please pay attention. Please write notes, remove all distractions, because as we continue to grow and go international, the tips and the things that they're going to give us is going to help us explode our team. And you're not going to know what to do, but you can go back to Mr. Rangel. Hey, my team's at 500 now. What do I do to get to 1,000? That's the benefit of our membership. So I'm going to hand the stage to Mr. Rangel. You can take it from here.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Chris. Always a true, constant professional. I appreciate everything that you do, my friend. And welcome everybody to the team building training. How many guys like the team building training that we're doing now on Thursdays, right? It's so important. And I think that, you know, it's interesting because I've had conversations like this through my career, and I would say, hey, why don't we do, because, you know, there was trainings, maybe there was a fast start training, and then there was like a leadership training. And I'm like, that's all needed. But how about just a training specifically on team building and recruiting? And one time I remember somebody said to me, one of the leaders says, well, what would we train on every week? I'm like, there's so many aspects to team building and recruiting. Not only that, it's not like you're going to train on one subject once. You know, you could train on a subject today, and then 2-3 months from now, you train on that subject again, because you're not going to master it, and there's always new people, right? So if it's one golden nugget that you pick up every time you get on here, it's super well worth it. Even if it's one golden nugget a month, once you've been in for a while, even if it's one golden nugget a month that can help you build your business. Sometimes I'm going to give you the first golden nugget right here. And this is not just a team building golden nugget, but this is just in general, personal development. You've got to learn, unlearn, and relearn. We all have to learn some new things. We have to unlearn some things, some bad habits that we've developed along the way. And then we have to relearn some things that we knew before, we forgot, we don't apply anymore. Now we're learning them again. We have to relearn them. Sometimes we pick up bad habits, right? Like the bad habit of not having, like I would think back to when I was younger in this industry, and well, younger in life, right? And how hungry I was. And I would talk to anybody around me. I'd spark a conversation, and I was eager about building this business. And then it would get to a point sometimes in my career where, I'm making a little bit of money now. Some people consider me a success, but I'm not really as hungry as I was then, but I'm also not where I need to be. So I should stay as hungry. I should keep talking to people. One of the things that I had to relearn is your list should constantly be growing. You're prospecting. This is a long-term career. This is the marathon side of the business, right? The marathon side of the business means that I'm in it for the long haul, and I've got to be constantly adding new prospects to my list. I've got to constantly be adding new prospects to my list. I got to network on purpose is another one. That's a key one. Network on purpose, right? I got to be on purpose about my business. I always have my business hat on, right? I got to constantly be getting outside of my comfort zone, and there's different areas of getting outside of my comfort zone. One of them, an easy one. This is one of the easy ones, getting on training. You know what's a harder one? Asking people that you just met with a great attitude. Something along the lines of, hey man, you know what? You have a great attitude. You know, my company's expanding in this area and we're looking for people like yourself. Do you keep your income options open to side gigs if the money's attractive enough? Something along those lines. Or just something so simple as, do you keep your income options open, man? My company's expanding this area and I think you do great. Let them ask you, what do you do? Let yourself feel the discomfort, right? Of like, oh, snap. But that's how you know you're getting better. Then eventually it flows. It flows. It flows, right? Networking on social media, right? I get some people that network on social media and they're professionals. You know who hits me up a lot? People in the insurance world. And sometimes I reply to them and I say, you know what? I'm a network marketer as well. You know, people in insurance network marketing companies hit me up, right? And I say, I'm a network marketer as well. I'm not interested, but I want to tell you, I appreciate your hustle. I can appreciate your hustle and your prospecting. Some of them will keep trying to recruit me afterwards. Then I have to say, look, like I said, I'm not interested, brother. I got my own business going on, but I respect your hustle. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And most people are not doing that. I mean, you got to make a decision. I had somebody text me today that I followed up on. And she said, I said, hey, how's it going? Her name is Karen. A friend of mine, she used to live here in Downey. She moved to Texas. She's in Houston now. And I said, hey, how's it going, Karen? I connected you with somebody. Wanted to see, did you finally get started with us? I knew she didn't, but I asked, did you finally get started with us? And who knows, maybe she would have already, right? She says, not yet, my friend. You know what? $99 is just something I can't afford right now and blah, blah, blah. So I told her, I said, look, now I didn't ask her. Usually I ask, can I be honest with you? Or can I be brutally honest with you? This time I didn't ask. I just told her because I know her. We've known each other for a lot of years. I said, Karen, I'm going to be very honest with you. The mindset you have to get out of your own way. The mindset of $99 a month being an issue for you Do you think that if you actually decide to learn and work this business, that you can't make at least $99 a month to cover your membership? I said, but here's the bottom line. 5 years from now, in 2030, you're going to be 5 years older. You mentioned that you've got debt. You're going to have more debt probably in 5 years. You're going to be 5 years older, and you're getting in front of your own way. The way you learn mortgages, you can learn this business, right? But you're scared to make a decision, because one thing I realized a long time ago is that when people get to their deathbed, and I've heard this a lot of times throughout the years, they don't regret the things they did as much as they regret the things they didn't do, the chances they didn't take. If they could redo life all over again, they take more risks, right? So anyways, just wanted to share that with you. So I've got a little PowerPoint here. Sometimes I will use a PowerPoint, sometimes I will not. So here is 7 steps to becoming a professional team builder. This is from the book, from Eric Worre's book, GoPro, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. I call it 7 Steps to Becoming a Professional Team Builder. In my last company, I had my team, we called our team Team Freedom. Interestingly enough, we now use Freedom as our installer, right? And we were selling solar, not through Freedom, and my team was, I named it Team Freedom. So finding prospects is the tip number one. For becoming a professional team builder, one of the skills that we must develop is finding prospects. I talked about that right now. Now, this is a skill. Finding prospects is a skill. Now, that's just the beginning, right? This leads to customers and consultants, right? So networking groups, ads, warm market, leads. These are different ways. So for example, very soon, probably by next week, I'm going to introduce one of my buddies and mentor for over 20 years, the guy who wrote the book, Building an Empire. He, for many years, has been calling leads from people that requested information to start a home-based business. For 2 decades, he's been calling those leads, nearly 3. So he has a training on YouTube. He says, JC, go through the training on YouTube. This is a website. So next week, I'm going to give you guys a website right now. It's called instantsuccessleads.com. Instantsuccessleads.com. For those of you guys that may know the book, I mention it all the time. One of the best, it's probably the number one, my favorite network marketing book, the most complete network marketing book, Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. So Brian has been using Instant Success Leads for many years, okay? And it's people that opted in on the internet somehow. They filled out a form that says work from home. They're looking for a work from home opportunity, right? Just so you know what it is. They're not saying, hey, I want network marketing. They're looking for businesses to work from home, okay? So I'm going to do a training on that because I've called those kind of leads, but many years ago. But listen, at the end of the day, prospecting is prospecting. Whether you're calling realtors, you're calling these, I would probably argue that these are probably better leads than realtor leads. The reason being is because the realtor leads, for example, that we generate are, you know, people say, yeah, I'm interested in a solar division. I want to learn more. Sounds good, right? These are more generic people that maybe don't have a preconceived notion of what the business is supposed to be like. They're just open to a home-based business, right? So anyways, finding prospects is skill number one, right? And there's a lot of ways. First of all, your warm market, right? We should all start with a warm market. One of the things that I find that network marketers do, a mistake that they make is this. Most of us prejudge too many people. Most of us do not call enough people in our warm market because we care too much of what they may think. A lot of us, and I'm guilty of this, not now, but I've been guilty of this. We don't call people because what if I fail in the future and I invited them and I ended up failing or quitting? See, I need you to ask yourself this question. If that is you, if you've ever felt like that or similar to that, ask yourself, is that what the millionaire version of yourself would do or say or think? Imagine that, right? Like the version of yourself that's making whatever that big goal is for you. Maybe it's not $1 million. Maybe it's 200,000 a year. Maybe it's 100,000 a year. I don't know. Whatever that version of you that's successful in your mind, whatever that means to you. Is that the kind of mindset they would have? Remember, I did a training on Monday on the Millionaire Mentor Zoom, and I mentioned about be, do, have. You got to first be the person. How will that person act? You got to be that now, right? How will they think? You got to think like that now. You got to be. Then if you be that person, you'll do the stuff and you'll have the things later, right? So finding prospects is number one. Number two, inviting people to view your product or opportunity. That is the next skill. So one skill is finding them. The next skill is how to pique their interest for them to check out your business, right? What is your system for exposing people? I'm going to give you an example of the tools and the systems, and is the system duplicatable? Somebody put in the chat, what are some of the systems that we have to recruit people into the business? What are some of the tools for exposing people to the business? Okay, sizzle videos, scripts, videos, and Zoom, fast start training, Tuesday, Thursday presentation, live presentations, exactly, right? Everything that you guys are mentioning. Trust me when I tell, look, the opportunity by the end of the month, latest by early next month, the opportunity is going to be that much better. I want to paint a vision for you guys, and I do this frequently, but I'm going to do it again. I'm literally at the corporate office. Mr. Navarro's in the other room, like right behind this wall. Mr. Navarro's there making phone calls. We've got the whiteboard up. We met up almost an hour ago, and I'm gonna stay for 2 hours after this meeting. We're doing a whiteboard session of everything that we're gonna do, the membership, the benefits, all that stuff, the vision of the company. And this membership, this $99 membership, we're gonna beef it up to the point where right now the presentation is kind of tailored to attract a lot of sales professionals, right? Or people that feel like, hey, I can make some money selling, and that's good. I don't think that attracts the masses though. And we've done great with it. But if we get a membership where people say, that membership, it makes more sense for me to have that membership than not to have the membership, irrelevant of whether or not I sell the services. So think about that. Why? Because for $99 per month, I get all these benefits. I get the Smart Money Club, the BYLD Academy, the travel agency where I could travel at wholesale pricing, 5-star hotels at 3-star pricing. Then at the end of the year, in addition to all the money I save and all the benefits I get, in addition to this, I get my own essential home services agency, right? Solar, ADT, home security, water, internet, mobile phone service. So any sales I make throughout the year, that's extra money. But at the end of the year, I get a vacation that's worth between oh, by the way, remind me to talk about the promotion. There's a promotion between now and the end of the month. So at the end of the year, I get a vacation that is worth $2,000 to $4,000. So the membership cost me $1,200 for the year. And at the end of the year, I get a vacation that's worth more than the $1,200 this membership cost me. So even if I don't make a dime, I get a vacation at the end of the year. So when Idris asked me the question, hey, do you have a plan in place for you to automatically take at least one vacation per year with your family? Do you have a plan in place for that? No, I don't. You should check out what I'm doing. Right? So now all of a sudden the membership becomes something like, I'm not paying the membership because I think or want to sell these services. It's because, hey, I want to get discounts throughout the year. I want to get all these benefits. And if I get some customers, I get some customers. But at the end of the year, I get more back than what it cost me. Is this making sense to anybody? So imagine when we got sizzle videos that in 2 to 3 minutes explain this. So if people say, whoa, it makes more sense to have that. If this is true, Idris, Rod, Barbie, if this is true, all the memberships that subscription gets you, I'm very interested. Show me more. So we're going to create some incredible sizzle videos. And look, even a 3-minute sizzle video is good, but it won't be enough to cover everything that we talk about. So we're going to have multiple sizzle videos. We're going to have like 3 to 5 sizzle videos. So you might know, hey, my buddy Rod, he's more interested in this side of the business. My buddy Idris is more interested in the travel side. I'm going to have him check out the one that's more heavily focused on the travel. I'm going to have him focus on the one that's more heavily focused on the essential goods and services because he's a real estate broker, whatever the case may be. So ladies and gentlemen, trust me, we know how to build and we're building it, but it takes time, right? We got to get onboarded first, right? We got to learn the stuff. Then we got to create the message. My point is that sizzle videos are a great way to expose people. Some of you guys are going to be able to go back to some of your prospects that were on the ropes or people that said no and expose them again because the opportunity is so much better right? And there's a whole different side of the business to it. The name of the game is subscription. So imagine if I'm a prospect, I'm like, that membership makes sense. Oh, by the way, if I refer 4, I don't have to pay the membership. So Idris, you're telling me that if I refer 4 friends and family members, my brothers and a couple of other people, that I get all these benefits and the vacation at the end of the year for free? Yes. Dude, that sounds too good to be true. All of a sudden, people that don't want to build because they want to get it for free. Think about what I'm saying. People that don't want to build because then that's where the duplication kicks in. Then they're like, wait a minute, I made some money. How does that comp plan work again? My point, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are not even officially 1 year old because our launch was August. So we're not even officially a year old. Now we had a pre-launch phase, of course, yes. So we've been doing business and operating for more than a year, but unofficially over a year. Let's keep going. So Tuesday and Thursday presentations. I've recruited more people. I want you to, this is a golden nugget. I think for some of you guys, this is gonna be a golden nugget for you. I have recruited more people through recorded presentations than I have from live presentations. Maybe that's a golden nugget for some of you. Now, part of the reason why I do is because when I get a prospect that's interested, I edify the video. Hey, Jerry, I'm going to send you a video. I've got a 15-minute video that breaks everything down fast, but it's to the point, gives you 100% of the information. But I've got another video that's only 6 minutes longer, 21 minutes long. That one is more thorough. I recommend that one, but I want you to watch the one that you will 100% watch without any interruptions. Which one do you want me to send you? Do you guys see the difference of what I'm doing there? Now, Jerry says, send me the 21-minute video. Sounds good, brother. I'm going to send you the 21-minute video. Just make sure, bro, watch it without any interruptions. It's only 21 minutes. I know that nowadays we live in an age where we watch reels that are 30 seconds long and stuff, and our attention span is not that as good as it used to be. But trust me when I tell you, it's worth 21 minutes of your time. Then I schedule a time to call him back when he wants it to answer his questions. So I've recruited more people with those videos, and then we know that they're gonna get better. The new PowerPoint presentation is like 99% done. Okay, and I'm very excited for when we introduce that, and it will be different than what you guys are used to. I'm letting you know that ahead of time. But trust me, the conversion will be bigger. It'll attract more people. And we're still going to have the one we have on BYLDoverview.com. So it plays every hour on the hour. So if some of you guys like that, you can still promote that. And it looks like it's a live presentation. That's another tool. You notice how it says here, inviting people to check out your business or opportunity, your product or opportunity. The last bullet point says, is your system duplicatable? Why is that important? Because you need a system where a dud can recruit a stud. You need a system where a dud can have some success, not just a stud. Studs and duds can both have success. So if I have something like BYLDoverview.com, and I got my buddy Crystal that says, hey, listen, yes, I'm interested. What do you got? But I work all day. I'm only available after 8 p.m. You know what, Crystal? You're in luck. We actually have a presentation that starts at 8 and at 9. What do you prefer? She doesn't have to know it's a pre-recorded presentation because it doesn't look pre-recorded. Now, I'm not lying because I'm not saying it's live. I'm not asking you to lie. Okay? I believe we should not lie. I try my very, very best not to lie, not even about the smallest things. So when I say, however, that it starts at 8 and at 9, is that the truth? Of course it's the truth, because it does start every hour on the hour. Now, if I were to say there's a live presentation, that is going to be being done right at that moment, that would be a lie. That's not what I'm saying. So my point is, now she says, oh, I'm available at 8. As I mentioned, I'm available after 8 p.m. That's awesome. Send me the link. Great. Here's a link, BYLDoverview.com. You're going to type in your name and your email, okay? And it'll let you in. Okay, and it starts promptly at 8. So make sure that you are on. So let's say she gets on at 8:05. She will get on and see a presentation that's 5 minutes in. Again, it has the feel like it's live, but it's not. It even shows that there's like 52 people on there, but there's not. That's just what it says. That's how the system works, right? That's how the system is designed. We didn't even put that number there. The system put it there, which is cool though. It looks like it's a wow, this looks like it's a live presentation happening right now. That's a tool that's duplicatable. The sizzle video is a tool that's duplicatable. If I schedule an appointment with Carrie to sit down with Idris and I for coffee or on a Zoom, and he presents to her, that is duplicatable. Okay, so inviting people, we have the scripts. We've gone through the scripts. I'm not going to go through scripts today. We have a script sheet that has all the scripts. And we've done these trainings where we went through scripts after scripts after scripts. Okay, so, we're not going to go through that today. Let's go. The next one. The next skill is to present your product or service. Are you a good presenter? Now, is presenting a requirement for success? No. You do not have to become a presenter to become a successful builder in this business or to become an executive. The executive levels, that's where the biggest money comes in, right? Executive 15 is $15,000 a month residual. Executive director is the second to highest position in the direct sales comp plan. Is it a requirement? No. Now, there's a caveat. Will becoming a better presenter help you get to your destination faster? Absolutely. Absolutely. When you present something or teach something, you learn it twice. Okay, not only that, let me give you a golden nugget. This is a high-level conversation, high-level tip on team building. You want to duplicate layers of leaders and layers of presenters / trainers. When I say presenters, I mean people that present the business and people that train others. Fast start training, do their, like for example, I know Rod, and his team, you guys have trainings and presentations on a constant basis. How many guys would love to have some Rods on your team? Some Roxy and Matthews on your team? Some Jabaris on your team? Of course. People that are presenting the business on their own, and then they're training their people. Then on top of that, some of them are closing deals for people. What if you get to the point where you've got on different teams a Rod Obi, a Roxy, a Matthew, a Jabari, a Idris on different teams? You know what that means? That means that you are well on your way to financial freedom. So if you become a presenter, it makes it easier for you to duplicate other presenters because people are looking at you. Listen, as a leader, I'd rather see a leader than to hear a leader anytime. I'd rather see a leader leading than to hear a leader about how to lead. So when I see, oh, look at this, JC's presenting. JC's now doing trainings. Then it inspires me to become that leader. It inspires me to become that presenter, right? So how many presenters do you have in your organization and how consistent are presentations happening in your organization? Here's another tip. Focus on, as a builder, ladies and gentlemen, focus on the number of meetings in your team going up and the number of three-way calls on your team going up. Your check will be determined, will have a direct correlation to the amount of three-way calls you are doing in your organization. Because think about it. The more three-way calls you're doing, that means people are getting exposed to the business. They have questions. Hey, I've got questions. What's the difference between this and this? Do I get this with the membership? The $99 membership has a CRM as well. What's the name of that CRM? Right, etc. As a leader that's focused on building a team, you want to make sure that you are, in the beginning, doing more three-way calls with your upline. Eventually, now check this out. You're doing three-way calls. Let's say MJ sets up a three-way call with her upline. She's learning. Prospect is asking questions. Expert is answering questions. She's learning. She keeps doing them. Eventually, she will find herself being the one to do the three-way calls for her team. Then you realize, oh, this feels good. I see the progress. Man, I went from doing three-way calls and being impressed by my sponsors and my leadership, answering the questions and helping me sign people up, to where now I am that person that is answering the questions and helping my team recruit others. It's a beautiful thing. Focus on the presentations of your team going up and the three-way calls going up. And then the other thing on that I'll say is this: make sure that everybody does their launch event. You must do your launch event. You must have a launch event, be a Zoom or in person, whatever the case may be. Next one, following up with prospects is the next skill. Prospecting is everything, but the fortune is in the follow-up. Prospecting is everything, very important, But the fortune lies in the follow-up. And then finally work with the willing. Those are the three very, very big keys to building. Prospect is everything, fortune is in the follow-up, and work with the willing. What do I mean? A lot of people will join, but not that many amount of people are going to treat the business serious. Not everybody's going to be willing to be coachable. Not everybody's going to be willing to do their launch event. Not everybody's going to be willing to be consistent. Life is going to get in the way. They're going to make excuses. They're going to get some rejection, and then, oh man, like, that's why I always say you have to have a long-term vision when building this business. It's a 5-year vision minimum. I talk all the time. It takes 5 years to make life fair. You ever felt life wasn't fair? Has anybody ever felt life wasn't fair? Okay, great. In 5 years, you could drastically change it. I have had times where I felt even sorry for myself, which I'm embarrassed to say, but it's the truth. It's something that happened before, where I even felt bad for myself. I don't do that anymore, but there was a point where I felt that way, where I felt life wasn't fair. And I learned in 5 years, you could drastically change your life. But those 5 years are find somebody that has what you want, that's willing to teach you what they know and how to get there, and get busy doing exactly what they tell you to do. And I'm telling you, generate 8 points daily, commit to training, make a 5-year commitment. If you invested just $50,000 into a Winchell's donut franchise, one of the cheapest franchises, right? 50 grand. We're not talking about 2-3 million for McDonald's. We're talking about 50 grand. Most of you, and by the way, the potential there is probably $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month after a couple of years. That it takes you after 5 years to break even. 5 years just to break even. Huge overhead. And then the business owns you. Employee doesn't show up, you have to show up. It boggles my mind how people see the evidence of how much money is available in direct sales, network marketing, especially in what we do with high ticket commissions. And I guess the perspective is not there, right? They don't see it. They don't think about it. I've known people that invested $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 into a business, and later on they tell me, JC, the potential of this business that I invested $300,000 in, the potential is 100, maybe 150,000 max. That's a potential. That's if I even get there and I'm working 10 hours, 12-hour days. But the thought of owning my own business, I'm like, man, if you dedicated half of that effort to this business, you make so much money and your potential is significantly higher. And you got leverage. I'll give you guys a perfect example, and I'm going to move on after this. We have a solar division. That's our primary service as of right now. I sat down with the owner of a small local installer a couple years ago. He says, I show him what his commissions would be selling through us. And he says to me, JC, you make more money than what I do on a deal. How's that possible? I said, well, we buy in bulk. We do a lot of volume, so we buy in bulk. That's part of the reason. My overhead is less than $100 a month. He says, if any of my team sees your commissions, why would they stay with my company? I paid over $100,000 to start my company. My monthly nut to crack overhead is over $10,000 a month minimum for my office and my employees, minimum 10 grand a month. I spent over $100,000 to get this company up and started. I only sell in a small part of Southern California. You cover not only all of California, but a bunch of other states, and you make money more money per deal. Wow. And that's when it hit me. That guy, his work ethic, he had no choice. He had to generate enough business to cover a $10,000 monthly nut. And that's not even getting into his profits, right? It's just to cover his expenses. He put over 100,000, I think he said probably close to 120,000 or something into that company. Small local installer, like one crew of installers. And eventually his goal was to grow to 2 crews. He couldn't even think of, he's in like Los Angeles. If he got a lead in San Diego, 2 hours wait. They didn't really want to do it. It'd have to be a really big system for them to consider it. That's my point that I'm getting to. I think most people don't realize what we have here. Because I think if they did, I think if a lot of us would have seen like what the alternatives were to be able to offer all these services. For example, do you guys, I have friends that are ADT dealers. If you want to become an ADT, now granted, the ADT dealer, if they go directly and they get approved to be with ADT, they'll make bigger commissions than we do. But you know, they gotta store all of that equipment. They gotta pre-buy all of the panels and the sensors and all that stuff. They have to store that, right? They have to get approved. They have to have X amount of years of experience, X amount of installations, right? It costs them money. And they could only sell in whatever region they could cover. They have to hire their own installers. I've got a friend that's been doing ADT for 20 years, makes about 40, 50 grand a month. But he door knocks 6 days a week still. Over 20 years, door knocks over 6 days a week. But you know, he's making great money, and he's one of those that's, hey, kudos to you. The guy's a stud, right? But you know, there's an easier way is what I'm saying. Let's keep going. Number 5, help them become customers or consultants. Help your prospect sign up. What is your system for onboarding your consultants or customers? And is your system duplicatable? So that's a skill. Once I get somebody on board, there's a difference between being a recruiter and being a sponsor. I get somebody on board. I get Michael on board. Michael, let's get you started. Let's get you to go through the Fast Start training and your certification. Let's help you hit the superstar bonus. 2 recruits, 5 customer points. That'll make you somewhere in the neighborhood of between $1,000 and $6,000. Let's do your launch event. In the game plan interview, we schedule launch event. That's where I'm being a sponsor instead of just a recruiter. Like I don't want to just sign people up and throw them like spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Not only that, what if I'm like, yeah, you should plug in. Here's a 7-minute video. Once you get started, it'll show you what the next steps are. In the 7-minute video, I tell people Monday trainings, Tuesday, Thursday business presentations, launch events, etc. But what if I'm not on them? My guy shows up and he's looking through the list. He's like, whoa, my sponsor's not even on here. The likelihood of that person leaving is very, very likely. We have to be on point. Okay, the next one, help them get started right. I kind of bled into both of them, right? I kind of combine both of them here, right? Let's go to the next one. And you want to become a master at promoting events. Most people are simply announcers instead of promoters. You got to really embrace the role of a promoter. You want to learn how to build a team, you got to promote events, promote these trainings, promote the millionaire, Zooms, promote the Tuesday, Thursday events. When there's a convention, when there's a mentor factory, promote it. And one of the things is you want to get people to these events because that's where the big decisions are made. Events are great for recognition. People love recognition. Babies cry for it, soldiers die for it. You need to own the most real estate at events, whether it's your local event. Let's say you have a Super Saturday in your local area, right? Or if it's on Zoom, or if it's a convention, you want to have the most amount of people there. And trust me, sometimes when we go to an event, we see the presentation and we get excited, we get fired up like, man, I'm ready to sign up again, right? That's a feeling that you want to put in people. Because one of the keys about building a business is you want to get people to catch the vision, and you want to extend people's expiration date. I say all the time, people have an invisible expiration date on their forehead. Your job as a leader is to extend expiration dates until you remove expiration dates. So if somebody's expiration date was, say, April 30th, meaning they're going to quit April 30th unless something happens, and you get them a check. All of a sudden, oh, expiration date is no longer April 30th. Expiration date is now, September. You get them another check. Oh, their expiration date is now December. You get them to a big event. Oh, you just extended their expiration date by a year. Your job as a leader is to extend expiration dates until you remove expiration dates. And one of the things that helps you remove and extend expiration dates the best is the big events. But every little event buys you a little bit more time. Every win buys you a little bit more time. That recruit buys you a little bit more time. You help them get their first recruit, buys you a little bit more time. Get a sale, buys you more time. Then eventually you got lifers. How many of you guys would like to have 10 lifers in your business? People that say, man, I'm in it to win it. I don't care how long it takes. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty common sense. What I'm gonna tell you next, though, you got to become that person first. It's gonna be very hard for you to attract and develop lifers if you are not that person, right? I mean, that's common sense, right? It kind of goes without saying, right? You need to develop the proper meeting etiquette. For example, let me give you some meeting etiquette for Zoom. First one, attend it. Second one, have your camera on. Third one, participate. Fourth one, get as many people there as possible. If we are in an in-person meeting, participation, we got to see the people in the front. You're in the front 2 rows. We gotta see you participate by speaking, raising your voice, nodding your head, raising your hand. The people in the back, we got to hear you. So the people in the front know that you are participating in the back. You hear Jabari say the same joke that he said a million times, you laugh at it anyways, because the joke is not for you. The joke is for the new guy. It's true, because we'll say a lot of the same jokes in the presentation. You need to know ahead of time. Yes, I've heard this a million times. And I'm going to pretend like it's funny as it was the first time I heard it. When I ask the question, how are you guys doing? Half of you raise your hand, the other half don't. Then I say, how are the rest of you doing? Hardy, har. The new guy's genuinely laughing. The old guy or girl, right? And I don't mean old, right? I mean the ones that have been here, right? The veterans are like, ha, right? Why? Because you need to get everybody to participate, right? So that's some, meeting etiquette. Don't get up and go use the restroom. Use it before or after. Don't interrupt the meeting. After the meeting, stay seated. Answer your prospects' questions right then and there. Save the questions till the end, etc. There's whole trainings on meeting etiquette, right? If there's no event in your market, create it yourself. No excuses. Even if you do one event per month at a local diner, at a Denny's or something, doesn't fit. Get it going at somebody's office. Get it going once a month. Hey, we got good traction. Let's try it instead of 4 weeks, let's try it in 3 weeks. Eventually, let's try it in 2 weeks. You get enough traction, you're doing it on a weekly basis. But see, the people that have the right mindset, which is, hey, man, I got a 5-year commitment minimum. You go from a 5-year commitment to I'm in this to win it. You know what I mean? I'm in this until I retire. But think about this. Any business that's worthwhile. If anybody were to tell me, I'm going to start real estate, and I'm going to give it a solid 6 months, I'd say, bro, you might as well not even start. What do you mean you're going to start a real estate career and give it 6 months? Insurance career, give it 6 months. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. The same thing applies for this business. Ask yourself, do a study. Go ask ChatGPT, how much time does the average realtor, does it take for them to be part-time before they go full-time and become a success? A successful realtor, how much time does it take for them to go from new to making money and being established? Answer, years. The same thing applies to this business. I guarantee you keep showing up, generating your 8 points, showing up to training, going and applying. It's called plan, do, review. This is the plan phase. You learn. Then you go on the field and you do what you learned. Then you go back to your mentor and you review. Mentor. I prospected this person, or I did this, or I took a guest to the event, or I did a launch event, or I got a bill, et cetera, and here's what I came across. How would you handle that? What would you do? What should I do next time? That's a review part. Then eventually you get good, and you get better, and you get better, and you get better. Then eventually you're not asking as many questions. Now you're answering questions. But think about, are you going to be in a more experience in a year? Yes. You know what the problem is? Most people are not going to give it a year. It's unfortunate. They say that I say this all the time. I'll say it again. It's worth it. The richest place in the world is a cemetery. It's not the oceans of the world. It's not the mountains where the gold is stored. It's the cemetery, because that's where people died with all their hopes, dreams, skills, abilities, experiences that they never gave life to. Because they care too much about other people's opinions, because they didn't have the mindset of a winner. Winners, we win some, write this down. We win some, we learn some. That's a golden nugget, man. We win some and we learn some. Yes, sometimes I get the sale. Sometimes I don't, but there's something to learn. I don't look at failure like the average person does. If I look at myself from 20 years ago, 15 years ago, man, the things that got me down then are not the things that get me down now. I look back and I'm like, man, I was so stressed about that. That was nothing to be stressed about. Sometimes I was stressed about things I should have been excited about. You know what it is? It's a personal growth. And then breakthroughs, people don't give it enough time to hit those breakthroughs. I mentioned this on a call yesterday, on the accountability call yesterday. I have an accountability call with a couple folks on Wednesdays. We have like 2 or 3 openings for that accountability call. Must attend every Wednesday with your camera on and commit to no less than 8 points a day. So we have 2 or 3 of it. Message me directly if you want to be a part of that group, because we're going to be removing a couple people this week from that group. So I got 2 or 3. This is a very serious group. Anyways, I shared with that group yesterday, when there's times where you get epiphanies, there's times where you get breakthroughs in your business, right? Just like in life. I remember when I started really hitting it out the park for the first time, and it was such a drastic difference. 1 year to the next was such a drastic difference, but it was all the years of the compounding. I was doing this for a lot of years, doing this, maybe going up like this, you know, a little bit. Eventually, from 1 year to the next, it did this because of so many years of doing this. I remember I met a guy, it was like through a Barnes and Noble. And what was weird is that I had somebody left the card in a book in a Barnes and Noble, and it had the name of a network marketing company, and I was in the network marketing company. So I called the guy. He left in a self-help book. He would leave his business card in a bunch of self-help books at a Barnes and Noble. So I called him to prospect him. So he told me the company he was with, and I said, I'll tell you what, why don't we meet up for coffee? I was in the healthy coffee business. He was a man selling skincare. I said, I'll tell you what, why don't we meet up for a cup of coffee? You show me your business and I'll show you mine. If nothing else, we'll learn from each other. Does that sound fair? See, this is the hustle. This is the hustle. Rod, hit me up. I'll get you in that group. This is the hustle that I'm talking about. Think about what I just said. I find this guy's card. I call him a prospect. Hey, I saw your card. Ivan, I saw your card. My name is JC. I see that you're with Nerium. What's the name of the company? Yeah, I am. How you doing? Good, man. Hey, I'm a network marketer too, man. I just wanted to let you know I appreciate what you're doing out there. That's awesome. That's very clever that you left your business card there. He goes, oh, thank you. I said, hey, are you local? He says, yes, I'm in so-and-so city. I'm like, well, I'm in the neighboring city. I was like, hey, well, I'll tell you what, look, I'm always open to learning. You open to having a cup of coffee. You show me what your company's all about. I show you what my company's all about. If nothing else, we'll learn from each other. How's that sound? He said, that sounds good. We met for coffee. And I knew this is a grown man. I'm a grown man. He's pitching skincare. I'm selling coffee that 7 out of 10 people drink, right? More people consume coffee than like I'm not a man that now at 42, I use some skincare a little bit here and there, but not at 28. This is when I was 28. So I meet with him and I let him go first. Show me what you got, bro. I'm all ears. And I'm listening. He pictures me. It's great, man. I love it. Show me what you got, JC. Sounds good. I show him what I got. Long story short, I recruit him. Check this out. He leads me to a guy who leads me to a guy named Ricardo. Ricardo puts me at another Starbucks because I met Ivan at a Starbucks. That's where we met. I got his card at a Barnes & Noble, but we met at a Starbucks. So he introduces me to a guy who introduces me to a guy named Ricardo, who introduces me to a guy named, let's just call him JM. I won't mention his name, JM. JM was with another healthy coffee company, but he had a big ego. He says, and he liked our company more, but he especially liked the fact that there wasn't a lot of diamonds. Diamond is a top position in that company. I was the only diamond in that company. And he says, I want to be the next diamond in your company. I said, I'll help you get there. Long story short, I recruit that guy who recruits another guy named, I'll call him JR. Those are his initials, JR. JR is in New York. JR, his second month, does $380,000 in sales with his team. But how did it go? From a Barnes and Noble to a coffee shop, recruited a guy who I don't remember the name, who recruited JM, who recruited Ricardo, who recruited JM, who recruited JR. Explosion happened. But you know why too? Because I also knew, and I was doing the business. I was like, when people ask you, Erica Neal, Tim Neal, MJ, Jerry, John, Shane, and the rest of you, where are all those people gonna come from that you claim are gonna join your business and all those sales and it's gonna make you all this money? Where are all those people gonna come from? Answer, wherever they're at right now. Meaning, it's none of my business. You might meet a guy at a Barnes and Noble that you meet up at a Starbucks that joins, that brings another guy that quits, but before he quits, he introduces Ricardo, who introduces JM, who introduces JR, that blows up your business. See, the how is none of your business. How it's going to happen is none of your business, right? Like, the creator will put the people in place. Now, how you do the business and what you do is what matters, but how it happens, that's not up to me. What's up to me, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you take a journey of 1,000 miles? One step at a time. I'm going to make a commitment. Listen, I'm going to make a commitment, 5-year minimum commitment. It takes 5 years to make life fair. I believe that. I'm going to go and I'm going to work this business. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to get outside of my comfort zone. I'm going to become what most people are not. Somebody that's willing to get outside of my comfort zone. And I'm going to learn. And every day I'm going to get a little bit better, just a little bit better. If you got 1% better per week because of all the trainings and all your activity, 1% better a week, you're 52% better per year. How many years does it take for you to become 10 times better? 3 years? Maybe 4? For you to become 10? Imagine you were 10 times better than you are right now. I mean, but here, look, I'm a black belt in karate. I don't know if a lot of you guys know. I won a world title in karate in the year 2000. I broke my ankle, broke my nose, fractured my ribs in order to win that world title, right? These are some of the injuries I acquired through my journey in martial arts. Till this day, I'm a martial artist. My son is a martial artist. I know being that kid, when I'll share this with you guys, and we're going to close this off very soon. When I was a kid in elementary school, I was a very heavy kid. I was obese. Joined karate, changed my life, lost a bunch of weight, right? No longer have bullies, started competing. But I remember I wasn't athletic. Athletic was not a word anybody would have described me as a kid. Athletic was not a word that anybody would have described me as a kid. But I became very athletic. And I remember seeing other people way more talented, way more athletic, way faster. Karate just came natural to them. I'm more flexible, faster, more confident. I was just like, you would look at me and say, man, this kid is probably not going to make it. But one thing I knew is I loved karate. I grew up watching Bruce Lee. And I just kept showing up. I just loved it. And I loved the mindset from it. So what happens is I would see people way ahead of me, but inconsistent. I did it from 10 to 18 at a high level, from about 13 to 18 at very high levels, 14 to 18 very high levels. To the point where when I was a purple belt, there was a couple, there's like purple, then blue, green, red, brown, then black. I jumped up to black belts from purple. I skipped everything else because I was smoking everybody. But when I got to black belt, I started getting smoked. I realized, whoa, there's levels to this. But I just kept being, and I had the good fortune to have some great trainers that were world champions. Anyways, long story short, I look back, I reflect at things in my life, and I realized there was these people that I thought were so much better than me that I thought was unattainable to catch them up. And through the consistency and the work ethic, I was surprised myself that I caught them up and passed them. And I applied the same thing in business. The compound effect eventually kicks in. If I don't stop, if I make a commitment, because there's going to be people to my left and people to my right that are going to fall. There's going to be people to my left and people to my right that are going to quit. There's going to be people that a deal cancels, they're going to quit. There's going to be people, oh, I've been in it 3 months, I don't got a deal yet, they're going to quit. Because they don't have the right mindset. And I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. And eventually I'm going to win. And I applied that in network marketing. Now, I started network marketing at 18. I didn't have my breakthrough till about 28, 27 maybe. So at around, actually, no, I'm lying. Around 24, I was with a company called Prepaid Legal, now known as Legal Shit. I was making about $2,500 a month, which was a lot of money for me back then. And, you know, this is 20 years ago. But $2,500 a month. I didn't start making 6 figures until I was 28. I didn't start making 6 figures until I was 28, but I started at 18. But I knew, dude, what's the alternative? I would look at people that would go, you know, the traditional route. I'm like, nothing against the traditional route, but that's not what I want. Before I had a child, I knew, before, you know, our first son, Maximus, was born, I knew, I would say, there's trainings of me on YouTube where I would say, you know, one day I'm going to have a son. Before my wife even I met. One day I'm going to have a son. I'm going to name him Maximus, and I'm going to be his hero. That's why I'm doing this. I'm going to retire my mom, and I'm going to do these things. I declared it. I was bold about it, man. Ask Wences. Wences will tell you that I used to say these things before I had a son. I would say, one of my goals was, I want my son to be, I want to be my son's hero. I don't want LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or any athlete to be his hero. I want to be his hero. I want to take him to school. I want to go to the gym. I want to work out with him. I want to teach him real good stuff. I want to introduce him to the creator, our beliefs, right? The Bible. I want to read Bible stories to him, and I'm going to show him that I'm a strong man that loves my wife, that protects my wife and my children. I'm going to be my son's hero. That was a desire of mine. And I knew, how can I do that if I go the route that my uncles went or my cousins went? Where at the end of the month, they got too much time at the end of the month, right? Instead of too much money at the end of the month, they got too much month at the end of the money. I didn't want to go that route. And I saw people being successful in network marketing, residual income, passive income, time freedom. I was like, shoot, I don't care how long it takes me. It's worth it. I'm going to figure this thing out. Just like in karate, to win a world title, it seems so far away. Eventually, I was there. It's a matter of time, and I'm willing to pay the price. And that's what I did. And I learned how to do this business, man. And I kept networking and networking on purpose. And then I realized, that now people work with me and are open to working with me, people that were not willing to work with me then because they see the change in me. And that comes through time. That comes through personal development. Some of the people that tell me no now are going to tell me yes eventually. And then I realized some of the people that are telling me no because they think I'm going to be out of the business in 6 months. But when I'm still in the business in 6 months, how's it going, JC? Before I used to say, oh, it's going good. Yeah. How you doing? Now they say, how's it going, JC? Man, we're rocking, baby. How you doing? And they're like, dang, this guy ain't the same guy. I thought he was going to quit by then. Not only that, he talks different. He acts different. He's more confident. All of a sudden, guess what? They're more open to doing business with me because I'm not the same person, but most of my friends quit before they became the person. They didn't believe. They didn't have faith. Is this making sense to you guys? Okay, so anyways, I hope you guys got value from today's training. We do this every Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. So I appreciate you guys. You know what? Before I forget, I'm so glad you guys are still here. I just need you for one more minute, and I'm gonna share. So this is a contest, and we're gonna send a announcement to everybody. We're gonna announce it tonight on the business presentation as well. There is a contest. I'm gonna share the flyers. You guys are the first to hear about this, by the way. I'm gonna put it on all the groups. We're gonna mention it tonight, and we're gonna send some videos out to everybody in the company as well. But let me share this with you. Here we go. Share my screen. Okay, so here's a contest, ladies and gentlemen. Solar sales contest. The contest starts between now and the end of May. The most solar sales sold. So here's how it goes. Most solar sales sold, minimum is 10 between now and the end of the month. 10 signed contracts. First place receives a free vacation for 7 days and 6 nights, plus an airplane ticket for 2 people. Okay, so take your spouse, take your significant other, take whoever you want. Second place is a MacBook Pro. Third place is an iPad. Now, there is also for the top setters, because this is, people say, well, I'm not a closer yet. Okay, that's fine. Those people that set the most appointments, all right? Here's what the numbers are. There's 2 different iPads. There's a first and a second place. There's 2 different iPads. There's a big one and the small one, okay? So first place setter has to set at least 5 sets. 5 sets, 5 appointments that sit and get presented to. Okay, that's all we ask. 5 that sit and get presented to. So we got to work. We got to get some utility bills, right? You get an iPad. Second place gets an iPad as well, but it's a smaller iPad. So we were just going to do this one. Then we're like, no, we want to do something for setters as well. So I'm going to have a flyer for that one with the details for that one as well. Now for the vacation, very important that we know, this is some example of the vacations. We're also using these vacations because these are some of the vacations that you're going to get anyways on your 1-year anniversary. The difference is when you get this 1-year anniversary vacation, being a builder, you don't get the airplane ticket. It's just the stay, the 6 nights, 7 days, right? The contest winners gets the vacation plus the hotel. So here's some examples of what we've got. Sheraton Broadway Villas in South Carolina, Scottsdale Camelback Sapphire Resort, Uno Acunada, Spain, Hotel Brisa in Portugal, this other place in Italy, Orlando. So there's about 4 American locations. So here's one in Orlando, right? Summer Bay, Orlando. This other place in Turkey. Here's another place in Egypt, England, and in Mazatlan, Mexico. Okay. By the way, all of these are minimum 4 stars, 4 out of 5 stars. Some of them are 4.5 stars. So 6 nights, 7 days, plus 2 plane tickets. Now, first place has the option to say, that's what I want, or to say, JC, for whatever reason, I just took a vacation. I don't want the vacation. First place can take the MacBook Pro if they want. That means the second place will get the vacation. I don't know why you would do that, but that's an option that you have, right? So anyways, that is the promotion that we've got right now. I'm going to get the flyer done, ladies and gentlemen, for the top setter. Minimum 5 set appointments. This is between now and we're talking about solar, right? This is between now and the end of May. So we've got about 5 weeks, a little bit less than 5 weeks. Let's go and crush it. Promote it to your teams. Let people know. Let's get these people promoted, right? And what does this do? This also increases everybody's commissions, everybody's overrides. This is good for everybody. So I appreciate everybody getting on today's training. I hope you guys got some value from it. I'm going to be doing it again next week. Next week, more than likely, we're going to be going through the scripts for calling the leads on Instant Success Leads. Every single Thursday, we're going to do team building or recruiting trainings. We are going to build the strongest people in this industry. So I hope you guys appreciate that. And if you appreciate this, show me some love tonight. Let's promote and get as many people on tonight's business overview with our cameras on. And I'll see you guys tonight. Love you guys. Bye-bye.